With all of the things going on in our world today, I have an end time message that you must hear. This is for the last times. Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Lord Ken, and I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Lords and Kings, where Jesus Christ is Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and you, ladies and gentlemen, you are Lords and you are Kings. That's right, you heard me. You are Lords and you are Kings. So I'm really excited about this message today because it is truly an end times message. It is truly a message meant for today. It is truly ordained that God have me speaking this message to you today. So check this out. Last week we were over in John chapter 17. And in John chapter 17, it was one of Jesus's last prayers before he was crucified. So let's go over to John chapter 17 and go down to verse 20. John 17:20. Okay, so at this point, Jesus was praying for his disciples up to this point. And then in verse 20, he starts to, kind of draw a line or delineate a little something here. And basically here he says, neither do I pray for these alone. I'm not only praying for the disciples, but I'm praying for those that are going to believe on me through their words. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's you and I. Jesus, over 2,000 years ago, thought about you and he thought about me, and he said this prayer. Now check out what he said here. Let's go to verse 21. Jesus said, that they all may be one, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us. Jesus wants us to be one in him, one in the Father. He wants us to be one with them. He wants us to be one of them. He is praying that we be one with him. Okay? That's his prayer. And like I said before, if anybody's going to have an answered prayer, you know it has to be Jesus. So Jesus' prayer that we be one with him and the Father is definitely going to be fulfilled. And this is the time for that to take place. See, this is an end time message that's not a message of gloom and doom, but this is one to rejoice about. This is one to be happy, to be glad about. You see, over in Romans, I believe Romans chapter 8, where it says that the whole creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. It's waiting for the manifestation of God. Now, God is going to be made manifest through his sons because we are one. You see, Jesus is our example, and he came here as a forerunner to kind of set the tone, set the pace, to show us how to do it, to show us what we would do and how we would do. You see, over in John 14, he says that the works that I do shall you do, and even greater works. This is what we've been called to. He said, I do this because you're going to do this because I go to my Father. Okay, let's get back to his prayer here. Now check this out at the end of verse 21. He said this. Now I want them to be one of us. Check this out. That the world may believe that you have sent me. That the world might believe that you have sent me. So Jesus' prayer is that we might be one with him, so that the world may believe that God sent Jesus. So how do you think the world's going to recognize that the believers are one with God? How are they going to believe that? How are they going to see that? What are they going to see? Well, I'll submit this to you, that they're going to see God. They're going to see God in you. Just like when Jesus came, Jesus said this. He said, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father. It's time for this now. It's time for us to rise up and take our position. It's time. It's time for Jesus' prayer to be answered. It's time. The time is now. It's not doom. It's not gloom. It's not the end. We should be excited because of the things that we have to do, the things that God has called us to. Do you realize how much of a privilege and an honor it is for God to choose you and I to be alive today and to be called his sons and his daughters in such a time as this? He's called us to be the generation that manifests. He's called us to be the generation that, check this out, represents him. We are his representatives, or we are his representatives. We are to represent him. That's why we're here now. This is what Jesus' prayer was. This is what it was all about. It was all about to bring us back to this place of oneness with God. We were called to be one with him. Okay, you might not believe me yet. Okay, check this out. Let's go down to verse 22. Let's just keep reading. Check this part out. Jesus is still praying. It's in red in the King James Version. He's still praying. So check out verse 22. And the glory which thou gavest me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me and hast loved them as you have loved me. Okay. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm getting a little too excited. Okay, so check this out. The glory which you gave me, I have given them. Now, what is glory? What is glory? Well, glory is an opinion. It's a view. It's how you think highly of someone in your mind, how you see them highly in your mind, or something like that. So it's an opinion, it's a view. So if God glorified Jesus, then God, in other words, made Jesus look good. Stay with me. He made Jesus look good. Now, how did he make Jesus look good? Well, he made Jesus look good by giving him the best, and the best is himself. Check this out. Let's back up a little bit. I know. So bear with me for a minute here. Hold on. Let's go back up to verse. Go back up to verse 5. Check out what Jesus is asking God here. Check this out. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. Man, look, this whole thing is about you and I being one with God. Today is Easter. Jesus came, died on the cross for you and I, that we may walk in this honor and this privilege of being called one with God. I know, again, it's a little tough to hear this sometimes because of the way we've been taught in the past. And what's happened with us is we've been taught to be sin conscious. So we've been taught more from the sin point of view instead of being taught more from the son point of view. You see, when Jesus came, he didn't focus on people's sins. He focused on sonship. And that's where we need to keep our focus. See, don't worry about your sin. God has already paid the price for your sin with the blood of his son, Jesus Christ. Don't worry about that. Don't be sin conscious, but be son conscious. In other words, be more conscious of your identity, more conscious of who you are. Okay? Because listen to this. They that mind the flesh, they that are after the flesh, do mind the things of the flesh. That means they're constantly thinking of the things of the flesh. But they that are after the spirit do mind. Let's just say inside your house. Okay, change that. Let's just say inside your house, it's 80 degrees right now. So that's pretty warm. And it's summertime or spring. And you want your house to be cooler. So what you do is you go and set your thermostat to a more comfortable temperature. Let's just say you set it to, 75. You set your thermostat to 75. Now, the destination or the setting of the thermostat is the temperature that you desire to be at. So you set the thermostat on 75, and then the house comes to 75 degrees. All right. Now, what happens if I stand at the thermostat and I change it to 75, 2 minutes later, 78, 3 minutes later, no, 74, another minute later, 68, another minute later, 80. What happens if I'm moving up and down on the dial like that? Well, it'll never reach a comfortable setting at all. I'm constantly changing it back and forward. So it'll never get to the destination. So this is why I said that. You are to keep your mind stayed on Him. So your thermostat should be set to Him, so that they that mind the things of the Spirit. Set your mind, set your affections on things that are above. Set your mind on the things of the Spirit. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Your mind is the thermostat. So if your mind is constantly set on sin, being aware of sin, then guess what? You're going to head in that direction. But if your mind is continuously set on Him, I will keep you in perfect peace if your mind is stayed on me. Perfect peace if your mind is stayed on me. See, the thermostat is your mind. And if you keep your mind set on things of the Spirit, then your heading is the Spirit. But if your mind is set on sin and on the flesh, then your setting is the flesh. So keep your mind stayed on Him so He can keep you in perfect peace. So then, this is why I bring this up. Again, like I said, we've been, I'm going to say it like this. We've been beat over the head with sin so long that we've been beat senseless. So sin consciousness is our setting. So if we're so focused on sin, when somebody brings a message like this, that you are one with God, or like last week, that you are perfect as He is. See, it's kind of hard to come off of that setting because your mind is stuck on sin consciousness. So what you need to do is allow these things in. Remember, take your hats off. Allow this to penetrate your mind so that your mind, your thermostat, could be set to the things of the Spirit. Your thermostat should be set to the things of the Spirit so that that's the direction that you walk in. See, Jesus said, the words that I speak to you, they are spirit. They are life. Romans 8 said that there's no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, to those that walk after the Spirit and not after the flesh. See, you walk after the Spirit when your mind is set on the things of the Spirit. You walk after the flesh when your mind is set on the things of the flesh. Or when your mind is set on sin consciousness. So let's change the thermostat. Set your thermostat on sonship. Set your thermostat on godliness. Set your thermostat on oneness with Him. One mind, one thought, one way of thinking. And that's like Him, because that's how He created us. See, the deception is to get your mind to think the other direction. Just like He did with Adam and Eve. He said, God doesn't want you to be like Him. But God is there saying, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Period. The thermostat should be set in that direction and never changed. So somebody might say, Lord Ken, I kind of hear what you're saying, but I'm still struggling with this sin issue. I still keep doing these things that I shouldn't be doing, and so on and so forth. Well, Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 7. He says, the things that I want to do, I don't do. The things I do are the things I don't want to do. So who's going to deliver me from this? Jesus. And you're delivered from this by keeping your mind in the right place. You understand? By keeping your mind in the right place. Whatever direction your mind is pointed in, that's the direction the rest of you will follow. Remember, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Your heart is your mind. Your heart is your subconscious mind. This is what we need to train. This is what we need to program. This is what we need to set on righteousness. So Jesus came and paid the ultimate price. The price that he paid was his life, but it was his life for yours. He gave his life in exchange for yours. Now you get to have his life. You get to live life more abundantly. He paid the penalty for sin, so you don't have to think about that. He only wants you to be focused on the life that he gave you. Set your thermostat on the things of the Spirit. Set your mind on life and on peace. Don't forget, share, subscribe. This is the offering that I ask for you for today's service. Share, subscribe. This is Lord Ken. Peace, love, happy Resurrection Day. Oneness with God.